Hello. This is Kayla from Kayla's Corner, and I am very excited today because
all aboard and welcome aboard the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum's Missionary Ridge Local. My name is Justin, and I'll be your tour guide for this journey back in time. Your trainman today is Zach, your conductor is Andrew, and your engineer is Frank. Now, before we depart, I am required to state that we are under authority of the Transportation Security Administration. Per order of the TSA, all passengers over the age of 2 are required to wear a face covering correctly covering the nose and mouth at all times for us to be allowed to operate the train. Here at the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, we are considered what is a historic railroad, not a scenic railroad. Being that the focus of our journey will be the history of the line and our equipment, and not what you see out the window. This trip in particular is a 55-minute ride, not a 55-minute experience, not a 55-minute ride. Excuse me, I did get a little tongue-tied there. It includes 15 to 20 minutes of travel in each direction over the 3 miles of track donated to us by the Southern Railway. It also includes a 20 to 25-minute layover in East Chattanooga, where we will have a brief demonstration of our turntable as well as a behind-the-scenes look at our back shop. Now, just a bit of history on the coaches you're riding in today. If you're riding in the first coach of our train, you're riding in the 906.
okay, so again, as you can hear, I am on a train, and I love to take trains whatever cities I can, so I'm really excited about this. Kind of makes up for yesterday.
Bridge over South Chickamauga Creek, and the water below you may spot some turtles, river otters, or geese. To the left of our train, you'll see a set of stone piers. Those stone piers mark the site of the original bridge. All except for wooden decking that the rails ran on. That bridge was made entirely of stone and was unfortunately washed away in the Great Flood of 1861. That line was occupied by the Western and Atlantic Railroad. Like I said, it was built by the state of Georgia, and interestingly enough, I do apologize, I am getting a little tongue-tied. Name Texas. When Conductor Fuller did occupy the Texas, it was facing south, so for the duration of the chase, he had to run the locomotive in reverse. Bridge over Tunnel Boulevard. Originally, that road you see below us would have tunneled underneath the railroad, hence the name. And the locomotive signaling our approach to the tunnel, meaning that we will be entering the tunnel walls at any moment.
So that was a super long tunnel. It was pitch black in there, so I turned it off, but it's really long.
We're now on the west. In about 5 minutes or so, we will be coming to a stop at our East Chattanooga depot. Once in East Chattanooga, you do have the option of joining me off the train for the layover, where we will have a brief demonstration of our turntable, as well as a behind-the-scenes look at our back shop. No travel or ballast. And finally, Rule 4 is of course my favorite and strictly enforced: have fun. The Southern Railway originally only donated a mile and a half of track. That track began right here in East Chattanooga. So if you were to visit the museum in the first 2 decades of our operation, then please do remain seated until we come to a complete stop. We'll let you know when it is safe to head to the exit.
Stay seated until it's time.
So I don't know if you heard, kind of noisy here, but this is kind of an educational train ride more than the scenery. So they have a demonstration we're going up to now. I'm not quite sure what it was.
They will be shoving back about 30 feet to clear our pedestrian crossing. When we do reboard the train here in East Chattanooga, if you do need the ramp, it will be available after or just before departure. Once everybody else is loaded onto the train, we'll shove the train back and the ramp will be available. The table should drop just about now, so we can commence turning. The locomotive today is Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis Railway number 710. Everybody give your engineer Frank a wave. This locomotive was built in 1950 by the Electromotive Division of General Motors. It was originally built as a GP7, making 1,500 horsepower. Now this locomotive was involved in a head-on collision near Birmingham, Alabama in about 1975. After its collision, it was sold for scrap. It was then purchased by a railroad named Amtrak. Amtrak would convert it to a GP9, from then on making about 1,750 horsepower. Now, while commonly referred to as diesel locomotives, the correct terminology for this is actually diesel electric. Inside this locomotive is a large diesel motor turning a generator. That generator is constantly producing electricity. That electricity is then fed down to the traction motors that sit on each axle of our locomotive. It is these traction motors that are propelling our locomotive and train forward. Diesel locomotives have always been made this way, and that's the way they're still made today. The only difference between modern locomotives and locomotives like the 710 here is that modern locomotives have computer systems that make a lot more horsepower. And there's your mechanics class for the day. Now, believe it or not, we don't have any computer systems to help us line up our turntable. Me and Zach have to do it with the old eyeball method. So if we're off by even a quarter of an inch, we won't be going anywhere today. And we are lined with track 2. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are we lined with track 2 if our train sits on track 1? Well, that's so we can perform what is known as a runaround. What that means is that our locomotive will go past our train and then through a switch. Frequently on our dinner trains. It's currently in the shop receiving some regular maintenance. In the back of the shop you can see our Chesapeake, Ohio number 1877, formerly known as the Lenoma. Years, as it is currently receiving a thorough restoration.
So that was a demonstration on how they maintain the trains. That was pretty interesting. So this is a different kind of tour, like I said. It's not really for the scenery, which most of the train rides I've been on has been about. This is more about how these trains function. Very interesting. The person that was doing this tour, that young fella, he's only 16 years old. He's just a high school kid. He's been doing this for 2 months. So he's doing a great job. All right, so now we're gonna go back on the train. So again, here's some of the products that would have been shipped back in the day. It's kind of cool how they've set this all up. So that was the train ride. And we are now shoving off to go back. So, like I said, I love riding trains. When I was young, I had a train set, a metal train set. And I used to daydream about where it could take me. So whenever I get the opportunity now, I get on the train and see where it takes me.
I'd personally like to thank each and every one of you for riding with us today. I hope you did enjoy your excursion. If you did enjoy your excursion, we do have many others. We have our